Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk About Layoffs. I'm Dr. Tracy Shroyer, and in this podcast, we're diving deep into the world of layoffs, exploring not just the challenges they present, but also the alternatives that exist. Through transparency, courage, and empathy, we'll uncover new perspectives and strategies for both individuals and organizations navigating these complex situations. Join me as we engage with experts, share stories, and provide practical insights. Whether you're affected by layoffs, involved in decision-making, or just interested in understanding this critical aspect of the corporate world, there's something here for you. Let's embark on this journey together, rethinking and reshaping the narrative around layoffs. All right, so I was actually reading an article this morning, and it was talking about burnout, employee engagement, employee retention, turnover, all of those types of topics, but it was focused more about burnout and some of the reasons for burnout. And one of the things that really caught my eye in that article is that there is an improvement of retention, employee retention. There's a 72% employee retention improvement when managers are listening, and they are, in a way, it was like the emotional piece and not just the logistics of being a manager. It's that the emotional piece, I feel like, is really what takes you from being a manager to being a leader, more of a leader. And it's that piece that helps to capture individuals and keep them wanting to stay with an organization. If you've heard the famous quote, and I won't say this word for word, but it's basically people don't leave jobs or they don't leave organizations, they leave bad managers. And so just wanted to share a bit about that and to talk too about how important it is to be a good manager. And I don't feel like it's rocket science, but one of the things that I see happening is in so many organizations and in so many teams and areas, there is somebody who is an amazing performer. They're a top performer. And so what's the next step for them? Typically, probably 9.5 times out of 10, is for them to become the leader or the manager of that team. But so often, those individuals that are going into that leadership role, that management role, don't have those types of skills. They have the knowledge of what is happening on the team, what the team, maybe even just what they were doing in their role, and how something specific works, or the knowledge and the education, the experience of how to do that, and what does that look like. But the management piece, they don't have that experience, they don't have that knowledge, and so many times, and I'm going to throw in me included in the past, when I first became a manager, was really, those people are thrown into the deep end of the pool and left on their own to try to figure it out. Sink or swim. Try to figure it out, and we'll see how you do. And so many of those individuals that don't have those skills are sinking, whether publicly acknowledged by others that are seeing it, or they're doing the fake it till you make it, whether you believe that or not, and they're trying to get by. Many of them are probably not enjoying that role, that management role, but it's the only option they have to get more money, to get more exposure, all of those things. And yes, many companies have these leadership development paths. They might have programs in place for people to go through. But one of the problems I see with so many of those types of programs is that they're cookie cutter. And managers, individuals who go into those roles, yes, they need the basics. Yes, they need the knowledge. Yes, they need to be able to take the information back and do what they need to do. But coaching is such an important aspect of that as well. And being able to talk through those one-on-one experiences, if those aren't being discussed like in a classroom setting, whether it's virtual or in person. But those types of things and that customization is so important, and the accountability and the continued discussions, and not just throwing somebody who is really good at that skill into that manager role, giving them these leadership classes and expecting them to swim like very, very easily. No floaties, no anything. But what really needs to happen is those individuals who are asked to, if they want to take on those roles, some people feel like I don't have a choice. Other people are very, very excited. They want to do that. But the manager in charge of that manager, or whoever that manager is reporting to, needs to take the accountability and support that employee becoming a manager and nurture them as they go through the steps to do that. And this, I would say, it's not rocket science, but it's also not something that's a one and done, check the box activity. It's something that nurturing you need to do over time, and you need to do it frequently. One of the things that I really liked is when I became an employee on a newer team, this was quite a few years back, my manager at the time, and granted I wasn't a manager, well, I was a product manager. I did not have direct reports. But what my manager had done with me is she said, I'm going to be here for you. I'm going to sit down on calls and kind of listen every once in a while. As we start to get further along and I feel more comfortable, or you don't have any questions for me, like I'll start to back off as we both feel comfortable with that. And one day she came to me and she said, I'm taking the training wheels off. And I knew exactly what it meant. It was, you are ready, you are good to go on your own. And that timing for people is going to be different. Some people might get there pretty quickly. It's not something like within a week or two that you take those training wheels off. But you need that support as a new manager going into that kind of role and leading others, managing others. So it's not something that's going to happen uber quickly, especially if you've not managed or indirectly managed individuals in the past. You may need more time to build up to that. And there's so many different methods to do that. So the coaching with your own manager, maybe even having a mentor, to being able to take these classes, possibly being in groups. I almost said support groups, but there should be manager support groups to help people to get through the difficult situations. To, if they're overwhelmed, how do you help them, give them the tools and the skills? Or, even when I say the tools, how do they find the tools that might be able to help them? And it's not going to be a one and done. It's not going to be the same thing for everybody. So becoming a manager is not for the faint of heart, and it's not easy, and everyone does not have the same path for what that management road leads like. And what happens is once you get into that role, you realize, hey, is this something that I do really like to do? And I want to continue to build this up. And maybe eventually down the road, I'll be able to nurture and mentor and, help others who are coming into the management ranks. Or some people identify, hey, I don't know that this is what I want. So even for me, over 10 years ago, I was a manager for a while, and then I was like, hey, I think I need to take a break and kind of reevaluate this. Do I really want this? Is this the direction I want to go? And there's so many different variables that come into place with that too, that help you to make that decision or identify what that is. So I just wanted to touch on thinking about that burnout, thinking about the manager's place in all of it, and how important a manager is to their employees. And I struggle with seeing so many managers, hearing stories about so many managers who they don't have frequent one-on-ones. They don't talk to their employees very often. They don't know what their employees' goals are. They don't know their employee. Even like when I was a manager, I knew like my employees had dogs, they had kids, what their kids' names were, what events, what were they doing this weekend, like those kinds of things. That is meaningful to so many people. And more managers need to open up, be a little bit vulnerable, and get to know their employees and make sure that they're there for them and that they support them, that they nurture them, that they help them. And it's not always going to be the manager that has to be the one-stop shop and that source for everything that employee needs. It should not be that way. It's the person who's going to help that employee get to where they want to go, what they want to do. It's to support them in the journey that they're in now and today, and meeting the goals that the team has and meeting the goals that the individual has. It's not, like I said, it's not for the faint of heart, and it's not an easy job either. And I just want you to think about, if you're listening to this and you are a manager or you want to be a manager, I want you to take a few minutes and think about what are some of the things that you could change in how you are managing projects, people, processes, your own workload today. What are things that you could tweak and change to better that, so that as a manager today or in the future when you become a manager, that you are going to make your employees' lives so much easier and so much more successful.
Thank you for tuning in to Let's Talk About Layoffs. It's been a privilege to share today's insights and stories with you, shedding light on the complexities and alternatives to traditional layoffs. Remember, in every challenge lies a chance for growth and positive change. I'm Dr. Tracy Shroyer, and your time and engagement with us today means a lot. For further insights and resources, please visit our website at letstalkaboutlayoffs.com. Don't forget to subscribe for the latest episodes. Until next time, keep exploring innovative approaches to the challenge of organizational change and workforce management.